tramming, as people should call it probably, because we're not actually leveling the bed. The nozzle is actually going up and down a slight bit as it's moving side to side or forwards and backwards to allow for any offset in the bed not being level. So that's basically the auto leveling routine, and that's the reason for this extra switch here. So hopefully you also see this nut sort of wobbling, turning a bit as it goes up and down, particularly on the auto level, which has to go up and down a small amount. So that's like backlash. Now I've already put some thin pieces of card around this nut and pushed them down in the top. Well, actually, sorry I knocked the camera there, but actually the whole nut itself is wobbling. I'll try and show you that. Zoom in. So I'm going to go up 10. Down 10. I mean the movement backwards and forwards like this, like what we call a backlash, is less with these pieces of card, and you might just see a bit of white there. There's actually a spring in here, and there's another nut on the bottom of this. Another nut on the bottom of that, and the two springs pressing together, sorry, the two nuts pressing together should remove any sort of backlash. But with this nut sort of turning, probably an eighth of an inch, hopefully you see that in the previous video, I think that could be causing, well, it's not ideal, so I'm going to change this nut out, because as I say, I tried putting some bits of card in there and it's still wobbling. So I'll come down now. It's not a lot, but you might, sorry I can't, it's almost like wavering. Come down another 10 because that's still in the thing of the camera. You might, particularly there, I think you might see it. Oops, sorry, I'm zoomed in quite a lot here, so let's go up. Look at that bottom edge there, where it's going into plastic, you can see the movement. Just tapping the touchpad to come down 30mm there in front of face. Very bad, this touchpad on this computer. I mean, there is a bit of wobble in the threaded rod. Well, I think it's mainly this nut that's, it can't be sort of screwed in. I don't know, it's being screwy. Sometimes must be screwy. Anyway, so I'm going to take this nut out. and then obviously change it for another nut and see if that's any better. I still might have to put card in because I think this hole, it's a hexadiagonal, I'm going to say hexadecimal, I'm used to computer terms, sort of, I think it's hex, 6-sided nut up there. It's got that shape in its top like acrylic piece. This is all layers down here. You might see the layers of acrylic, each one about 5mm thick, and that just sits in like the hexadecimal hex shape in the top acrylic sheet there, and that's supposed to stop it turning, but obviously the hole is a bit big because it can turn. Right, that is basically it. And then all these pieces, these bits of card off, very greasy and oily. So a lot of 3D users, printer users, will show you how clean and nice and neat it all is, but I'll just get this nut off, clean out this card. So there's a spring, and over here I have some of these LML bearings. So they're the longer like bearings on this optical smooth rod, and that helped a lot to cut down the wobble on the threaded rod. Right, so I'm going to remove this nut. Right, I've swapped over the nuts. Now I expect this to actually turn a bit because I haven't got any bits of card in, although I think this nut is tighter in the top there. Okay, I'll come down a bit. It's still wobbling the nut, so actually maybe it's threaded rod. So I'm going up 30 here. I'm going to come down 20 or 30. It's particularly when it goes, sorry about that, going one way and then back the other way, when it's going up to down or down to up. Oh, that's coming down here. Let's go up. So asking it to go up 20, and ask it to come down 20 straight after. So that's going to go up 20, well 30, and then come down 30 after this. So going up. And it's certainly got a bit of wobble on that nut there. So is it the threads in the threaded rod? Or is it the nut itself, because that's a different nut? Hoping that this doesn't have a major impact on the printing. I don't think it will actually. Come down a little bit more. If I can get my laptop to do it. Actually, I don't think there's much I can do, but I don't think it actually is turning, which is probably the main worry. Certainly got quite a bit of wobble on it. Yet I think this one on the left doesn't do it. this one again. Try changing the nut. So go a bit of wobble there, although this nut must be actually a bit tighter in here because it's not turning, there's no card in here like I have to put in the other way, in the other sort of nut I mean. Let me take it quite low down and then I'll show you that. Hit home again because that will make it move up and then back down. Good test that actually. It goes up and then down when it homes. Look at the wobble on that nut there. And to me it certainly looks like the nut. I mean the threaded rod does wobble a bit. And that's definitely a different nut, so I wouldn't have thought two nuts be like out of kilter in a way. So let's have a look at the left one. Same sort of situation, and it's almost like this one's solid as a rock. Very unusual. Anyway, I don't think there's much I can really do about it. Unless I buy another nut and try another nut. I suppose it's possible two nuts are out of line. Now the next stage I think is I want to be looking at this light thing. I might actually put a few more bulbs on here. And instead of all this goo on the back side, this is hot glue. I might put another sheet of cardboard, so like dismantle this. I might not be able to get the LEDs off, it might not be worthwhile. You get LEDs quite cheap. Dismantle it and 2 layers of cardboard and a few more lights. It seems a bit shadowy over this side particularly. Just a second, let me put this other light on there. And I'm just going to muck about with the lights a bit to see if it has any impact. Yeah, it seems particularly like darker over that back edge. So that might want a few more LEDs. Trying this paper to see, get an idea of the area. I can't really extend it much this way because it's going to hit this carriage on the left. And that's one thing that was happening with it because it was knocking it a bit. It's pretty loose at the moment anyway, so it needs some work. I'll have a think about that. So I'm waiting for hoping to get a new feeder. As I say, this feeder here, absolutely terrible. Rubbish, junk, scrap, bin job.